boy. We on EZIM TV, and long time coming. We got a mega underground superstar in my eyes from the town of the 585 Rochester. In case y'all don't know, but I want to give it up for my man CrotonaP.
Peace, bro.
Shout out to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I don't want to say that you're from Rochester because you're really not from Rochester.
Nah, not at all.
But your music has caught my attention here. So if you don't mind, sharing, originally where you came from.
I'm born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I moved up from the Bronx, New York about 13 years ago. And I've been here in Rochester, New York ever since. But I'm originally born and raised out there.
Okay. So what's it like just being in the mecca of, where hip hop was birthed, as they say? You know what I mean? I'm gonna say that because I'm from Queensbridge.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that it was.
Nah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful being from New York City. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I don't know how to explain it. That's all I know. You know what I mean? Like being from there, so it's not like, how some people may come from somewhere else and go to New York City and they see how beautiful it is, and I just grew up in the gritty part of New York, in the Bronx, and in the early '80s. You know what I'm saying? Where there was a lot of abandoned buildings from all the buildings that were burning. So we had like a lot of just broken down buildings. So like growing up there, it was rough. It wasn't a beautiful scenery or nothing like that. So like.
Big building.
But it's like the camaraderie, you know what I'm saying, you build with everybody in the hood and in different blocks and stuff like that. That means a lot. So
when you was introduced to hip hop in the mecca, of where the borough, what was it like when you first was injected with the sound? Because back then, I recall going to outside jams, as we called it.
Okay.
Do you remember your outside?
Yeah, definitely.
First time you went
definitely,
to the
because I lived in front of a schoolyard. The elementary school that I went to, I lived right in front of it. So we had a big schoolyard, and there was a dude named Fabian in my building. They used to throw big block parties, and they had DJs and people. It was mostly hip hop being played and freestyle music and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I grew up during that time. But if I'm being totally honest, when it comes to my hip hop injection, as you called it, you know what I mean? I was very young. It was during the time that the first time I heard hip hop that it caught my attention. I was really young, and it was LL Cool J's "I'm Bad." That was the first joint that I heard. And I brought the tape home. You know what I'm saying? And the tape didn't last too long at home because once my mother heard him say, "I never seen a motherfucker run so fast" or something like that.
Right.
He said in the track, "Can I curse here?" Or
yeah,
no? I'm sorry about that.
You could do what you do. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So once he said that, you know what I'm saying? My mom's heard that, and she was a religious person, so she wasn't trying to hear that in the house. So she cut that down, and it was no hip hop in the house type shit till I was about maybe 13. That my pops left the crib when I was 12, so around 13 was when I started high school, and that's when I started getting the bug because I saw Cypress Hills, and they were Latino rappers, and I had never seen that before like that, you know what I mean? And then I started getting in tune with the other Latino rappers like Fat Joe, Curious George, which was the one that mainly made me want to rap, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that, but once I heard Curious George say half Puerto Rican, half Cuban, not Fidel, and walk like a duck, that's what made me say, oh damn, I think I could do this, you know what I mean? I want to try. So from that point forward, it's been in me, and I've been doing it ever since. Maybe I would say 13, 14, 15 years old, you know what I mean?
Wow. So you do have a Latin background.
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
No doubt.
I'm Puerto Rican. Both of my parents are Puerto Rican. But I gotta make it clear because when you speak to Puerto Ricans, actual Puerto Ricans from the island, they let you know you're not really a Puerto Rican. You're a New York Rican because you was born and raised out there. You're not from the island. I lived in the island for 1 year when I was 15 years old because my mom sent me out there because I was fucking up in New York, so she thought that would make me straighten up, but my grandmother sent me back. She was like, they're gonna end up killing your son over here. Send him back to New York because he's fighting every day. So
acting up a little bit.
Exactly. So they sent me back to New York, and I stayed in New York after that. So I was only living in PR for a year, but it wasn't a good year. You know what I mean? It was just a lot of them not understanding me not understanding them. You know what I mean? My grandmother didn't get me. My uncles didn't get me. It was just and then when I went to PR for that year, the only tape I took with me was the Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers album.
Wow.
So that's all I had to listen to for the whole year. You know what I'm saying? So when just Wu-Tang, that's it. There was back in those radio stations, it was just salsa music and stuff like that. But
and salsa music definitely has an injection to the game of hip hop as well.
Yes.
And you mentioned Fat Joe. What was it like when you first heard Big Pun? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, it was incredible. The first time I heard Pun, I think I was listening to Stretch and Bobbito in the morning from 1 o'clock in the morning to 5 in the morning. I used to listen on Thursdays.
Right.
And I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was late in the morning. And You Ain't a Player, I Ain't a Player. The not the remix, the original one.
The original one, right,
My
right,
darling, darling,
yeah,
baby, that joint.
Bodied it.
Yeah, so once I heard that, I was like, wow. And the funny thing is, I had heard him before, but I didn't, like, it didn't hit me, like, it didn't grab me.
But that was the same person?
Same person. I heard him on Joe's album, on Jealous One's Envy. And his verse was dope, but it didn't grab. It was dope, but it didn't touch me the way that song touched me. And then I'm like, okay, that's dope. And then after that, I heard him again on Stretch Armstrong's show that he had on Hot 97, and they used to play on Sunday nights at 11 o'clock. They used to play all types of underground joints, and they played You Ain't a Killer. And once I heard You Ain't a Killer, that was it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm like, I'm a fan for life.
Right. Yeah. So growing up, I always knew they had a bunch of Latin people, not only rapping, they was, you know, break dancing, graffiti artists, you know, there's so many elements, you know, of hip hop. Was you able to tap into any other elements of hip hop outside of just?
I tried tagging, you know what I mean? I tried tagging and stuff like that. I would watch my homies that tag, that did graph, and I would try to like emulate what they did or whatever, but
it wasn't coming
out like the way theirs was coming out. The breakdancing, I'm a heavy dude, always been a little heavy dude, so like I never even tried that. But the rapping was the part that was like kind of, it wasn't simple for me, but I gravitated towards it, you know what I mean? But it took a lot of work, but it wasn't simple.
Wasn't simple.
No, not at all. I mean, anybody could rap. Like even nowadays, it's proven on the radio. Anybody could rap. But it's like back then when we were coming up, it was a different era where you really had to have skills. You really had to, you know, there was something you had to have, a certain element. So that wasn't easy to captivate. That it just became easier throughout the years as the training kept going. You know what I mean?
So you had that machine coming from the Bronx, and you migrated to Rochester. What was it like having that transition with trying to make, you know, your way in Rochester and trying to just, you know, get the vibe with new people around you that's doing music like you? What was it like just trying to make, you know, your way in Rochester as far as the rap scene?
No, to be honest, when I first touched down to Rochester from the Bronx, I wasn't rapping. I had stopped rapping like a year prior to that in New York City. I basically just said I'm getting older. I was already 32. I said I'm getting older. I don't really feel like doing this anymore. I feel like, because at the time, Game had put out a song where he was like, if you over 30, still rapping, something like that. So that stuck in my head, and that messed with me, you know what I mean? So I was like, after I hit like 30, it started messing with me, and I took time off from music, which basically, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe that hindered me a little bit, but I took time off because it bothered me, and I felt like I was getting older, whatever. And when I came up here, I still wasn't rapping. I had no intentions of rapping. And I hooked up with my man Sonny, who brought me here from the Bronx. He used to be down with the group Upstate Cypher from here, from Rochester.
All right.
I brought them up to New York City when I was 21 to perform out there in the Bronx, you know what I mean? So the connection was already there. So when I got here, me and him were talking about music, and also Bahama Kid, who used to be down with Upstate Cypher, who goes by Don Guccio now. He was also, you know, he was very like open arms when I got here from New York on some a lot of love, just on some regular cool shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then I knew they were still doing their music here and there, and DJ Private Eye was still doing mixtapes and stuff like that. So he basically had us come up and do a couple joints for his projects or whatever. And I just started writing again, you know, messing around, doing stuff like that. And then I went to a show at the Dublin, and I met Schizo Flows, you know what I mean? And when I met Schizo, he put me on to like, he asked me like why I wasn't really rapping like that anymore. Like, because I told him I used to rap back. He said, well, you're not really rapping like that anymore. I said, because, you know, it's not really no money in it. And, you know, basically he started telling me how there's ways to like legitimize what you're doing and actually start getting money from it,
Showing that the world is a little bit bigger than the small space that you might have been thinking.
Exactly. Right? So once he started talking to me and started showing me the way, I started following his blueprint on how to do things. And then from that point, I started collaborating with different artists in the city. First collaboration I think was Felony Click, Monster Krills, and Man the Desperado.
Right.
and we did a song called Let 'Em Fly. Shot a video for it, and a lot of people from the town came out for it, which I was really surprised that, you know, they embraced me like that,
Right.
you know, coming from the city. And but that was due to Monster Krills and man, you know, that was their peoples that came through, you know, and showed a lot of love for the video. And Schizo came through, Ice Grill was there, a couple people from the town, you know.
Right.
And then so that transition coming over here was kind of like just collaborating with people and trying to get my name known again. And then once Chris G got a hold of my music and started hearing about me, that's when he showcased me on his show and interviewed me. And exactly. So it just started from that point on. I just kept going and kept going. And, you know, we had our moments where we had to stop due to real situations. But, you know what I mean? Like, we picked it back up and just never let the ball drop.
So you was a part of a collective group at
Yeah.
all times, or?
I've always been part of different groups, like growing up. Like I was the first group I was in was a group called Lyrical Terrorists with a guy named 11, who he goes by 11 now, and he basically was trying to get us like record deals at a young age. You know what I mean? Like he had a deal on the table with Atlantic Big B for all of us, though, as a crew, a collective called the Lyrical Terrorists. So
wow.
It was 5 of us. I was the only Puerto Rican in the group, but it was pretty cool. Like, you know, the dynamic, everybody was different. And this was, I'm not sure if Wu was even out at the time, to be honest. Like, this is just like when they were just crews, you know, like it wasn't like a big 9-man group, but it was just like regular 4, 5, 6 person cliques or whatever.
Right.
So we did that, and we got close a couple times, but it just didn't work out for whatever reasons. But after that, I was part of another group called IC Square, who those people in that group are considered my brothers to this day, you know what I mean? And they stopped doing music, but I continued doing music on a solo tip. And then after that, I came up here and just kept doing my own solo thing. And then I became a part of Hex Nation, who's Schizo Flow's the leader, and rest in peace DJ Hub, you know what I'm saying? He was also a leader.
Yeah.
And basically they was showing us the way and showing us like how to go out here and make a name for ourselves and do shows and open up for all different type of artists. You know, we opened up for Scarface, we opened up for so many, the list goes on. It's too many to name how many people we opened up here for the city due to being a part of Hex Nation and Schizo Flows, you know, taking that ball and showing us how to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was at one of y'all shows where y'all opened up for, was that KRS-One?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was at the Montage Music Hall, yeah. And we actually brought him up here, like we paid to bring him up here and all that, so that was pretty dope that we were able to do that as a, you know, as a group, you know.
And God bless Max Mill, you know.
My brother, rest in
Shout out
peace
to
for
Max,
life.
rest in peace for Max. That was one of the last performances I've ever seen. So, wow, that's big right there, man. You know, when you get the support from locals, is it somewhat different from Latin support artists than?
I mean, the only Latins that really support are the ones that rap still.
Gotcha.
That are doing the same genres that you know, and some of them don't support, but you know, like it's not because they may not like the music. It's just political stuff most of the time. You know, it's this clique, don't mess with this clique, and you know, it's little stuff like that, which is kind of ignorant, but it is what it is. You know, so that's
a hip hop.
Yeah, it's part. It's competitive. It's competitive nature, so I get it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
How much do you inject some of your culture into your music? Do you?
I do from time to time, yeah. Like on my last album, Killer Instinct, the last song on the album is fully Spanish. You know, it's all Spanish. So like but it's boom bap though with the Spanish. Like I don't do the reggaeton like that.
You won't do it?
Nah, I won't do it. Not because, you know, not anything. I don't want to talk
easy
down on it. No, not even that it's too easy. It's just not me. You know what I'm saying? I want whatever I want to do. I want it to stay true to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but that's about it when it comes to the Spanish jump. But I throw little words here and there and little references that people will get. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the Dublin days, man. Back in the days, man. Rochester had it going on.
Hell yeah.
What was it like just performing there with some of the local acts? Can you share any moment that you wanted to highlight dealing with Dublin outside of, you know, your introduction with Schizo?
Well, Dublin, I caught the tail end of it, so I caught the last couple shows that they threw over there, but the last big one that I was a part of that I went to go see was the Ice Grill versus Hassan Mackey battle. Yeah, I was there for that. You know
I hosted that battle.
Did you? Wow, I don't remember. It's so long ago. You know what I mean? That's dope.
I hosted that battle.
That's dope.
Man.
That's dope. But yeah, that's the last one that I went to that I remember that was huge. You know,
right.
A lot of people came out to.
Yeah, everybody had a crazy night that night. Just part of the interview, I want to kind of go into some of the things that you might share online. So it's pretty much, you know, things that you either said online or things that you are sharing online.
Okay.
I'm looking at
Let me see if I even remember what I say. I'll be high.
Alright. This says, the blessings keep coming. I've just learned to open my heart and accept them. In time, they come. I ask myself, why not? Then maybe a year later, God shows me why. And you put patience under that.
Okay.
What's your thoughts when you was spilling that?
I guess it's a frustration from an underground MC that's been doing it for mad years, that maybe feels like, when am I going to be able to make a honest living from this, instead of, you know, continuously trying to get to that point. So a lot of times you end up wanting certain things to happen and wanting to reach certain platforms, and at the moment, you know, you may not that you necessarily get rejected, but it just may not be happening at the moment.
Right.
And you start to create these, you know, illusions in your head, and you start to think that it's a personal reason and there's conspiracies and all types. I mean, that's at least me. Maybe that's my frame of mind of thinking. It's
Right.
the dumbest way to think, but
You feel like you probably in your own way. You're like your own way, like you saying, like you're in your own way.
yes,
Thinking.
yes, 100%. A lot of times, you know, that even hinders you making progress sometimes, because you start letting those ideas become bigger than the truth. You know.
Right.
So I think that just that particular statement was because I wanted to do a collaboration with a rapper from the Bronx named Nine Double M, who used to be down with Funk Master Flex. He used to have a song called "What You Want Nine," man, beats back in the days, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a song with him. I seen him online, and I wanted to do a joint with him. And I'm not sure if we actually spoke about it, because I got hacked a while back, so my page, I lost it. I had to create a new one.
Don't you hate the
I hated that. Yeah,
conspiracy, all that.
It happened though. You know, it happened, and I lost my page. So I'm not sure if we actually got to conversate, but I know I wanted to collaborate with him. But I'm not sure if I was too timid to ask him, or you know, whatever.
Right.
But I didn't go about doing it, and just a few months ago, I get hit. I started working with this producer from Germany named Bofat, and he basically, I bought a couple beats from him, and I dropped some singles produced by him. He liked the work, so he was putting out an album called Tales from the Rotten Apple, with a lot of MCs from New York City and from upstate New York. So he hollered at me. He's like, I know you from the Bronx originally. I got this rapper that I want you to do a song with, you know, but he's a legend from the past. Right. So I'm like, word, send me the track. So he sent me the track, and once I heard the voice, I already knew who it was. And I'm like, wow, like I couldn't believe that I was being given the opportunity that I wanted so bad. So but I either didn't have the money to pay for the feature at the time, or whatever the case may be, but I know that that's something I wanted, and just the fact that the universe made it happen, you know what I'm saying? And Bofat was able to make that happen for me. And it was so surprising. And that was one of the main reasons why I said that sometimes I ask why not, you know what I'm saying? And then like a year later, God showed me why, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I just give up on things, and then I get the blessing later on. So I got to start learning to be more patient and live in the now, instead of trying to be so far in the future, you know what I'm saying? I'm losing out not being in the now, you know what I mean?
You can't dwell on something you can't control.
Exactly.
That's the realest.
And the same thing happened this past Sunday. I've been sending music to Shea 45 since the beginning of the year. They played my music before in the past. Me, M-Doc music, M-Doc Diego, me and his music, they played in the past. My joints, other features that I did with other people. But then this year I've been sending music, and it's like nothing's been played. And then this Sunday I get tagged, boom, they played my music. So I'm like, everything comes in time. Everything comes in time. It's not when you want it sometimes. It's when either God wants it or the universe wants it. You know what I mean? You just gotta learn to accept that.
Yeah, you have a lot of high expectations, and then sometimes it can be so high, and then it's not there, and then out of nowhere.
Especially when you're working hard towards your goals, you know? Like even yourself, like with what you're trying to do. You may be going like full force like a train right now, and then you may want something to happen right then, and it just may not happen for you right then and there. It might happen a few months from now, maybe 2 years from now, but it'll happen, you know what I mean? But the older you get, the more frustrating it gets. The more frustrating.
Like time is going out, whatever the case.
Yeah.